To the video that's going to show you how to use your sim book in CIS 146. I'm logged in as a student and I have basically the first week's work here. I'm just going to use any of these at work, but I'm going to start with Chapter 1, Windows 8 Office 2013. Okay, so when you click on that, you have a couple of things to look at here. You can look at your status for each section in this sim book over here on the right. It'll show you the points that you get and so forth. And essentially, this whole thing is worth 5 points, so it's not a lot, but when you add them all up, it does equal quite a lot. You can see here that I've got one check. That's because I went in here and looked at this, but you're not going to get grades for these because you'll be doing independent projects outside of the sim book. There's no way for me to remove these, so you'll just need to know up front that you shouldn't even worry about these, okay? Challenge project, independent project, guided project within the sim book. You have a second assignment for that, and I'm going to have a video on that next, so just keep your eyes out. Pause and practice is not enabled. When you see that in the sim book, and we'll see that in a minute, you just read through it and ignore it, excuse me, because there's no way to submit it. I just don't have it enabled. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, another thing about this is actually your textbook. I mean, you don't have, it's like an ebook, but it has all sorts of links and smart features in it. So remember that after you complete this, you'll go in and do the project associated with the chapter. So there's always a sim book and a project, and you already know that if you've looked at your printable course schedule, all that's in there, and we've talked about that. But when you're doing your project, that's an independent project, so they're not going to hold your hand through that, but they're going to give you a list of items to do and some files to work with. Some of them will be data files. One of them will be your actual file. Not all of these projects or these chapters have data files with the projects. I think Excel 1 doesn't. So if you don't see any data files to download, there's just nothing to download. But that's only one, I think, out of all the other chapters we're doing. The important thing here is when you're doing your projects and you get stuck, open up your sim book, because I've got it set, even though the time has run out to submit it, you can still have access to it the way I have it set up. So you come down here and you try to find the location of the section which you're having trouble with and go back to the sim book, open that up and go through it again. That's the way this is supposed to work. It's a repetitive learning process. The software is set up that way. So you're not going to know everything. You just have to know where to go to get it. So this is your textbook. If you get stuck on an independent project, just save your work, because that's the only thing you'll be doing where you're actually working on a USB drive, not in a simulation. So just save it or pause it, or just leave it open. Come over here to your sim book and find the section that you need to get to. Click on it and go through, and it'll refresh you a little bit. Okay. You can also reset the progress after if you want to, but obviously if you completed it, there's no need to do that. So let's say you're ready to go. Let's open the sim book. And there you go. So this is just basically some text that you're supposed to read and look at. Forget pause and practice. There's no way to do that. Okay. Just if you see that, just read it. Don't worry about it. And here are your student learning outcomes for each one of these sim books. Our tests are based on this. So if you go through this in the project and the practice test, you should be able to make an A on both the midterm and the final. The only way you can't do it is if you don't put in the work. And that's it. It's really easy. It's nothing to it. So, all right. So when you complete this, go to the next page, and you'll read through and read through and read through. And eventually you'll get to a point where they'll have some sort of an activity for you to do. If I can get there, I don't know where it's going. Oh, okay, here's the first one. There's a show me button, a guide me button, and a let me try button. Now they're asking you here how to do something, okay? So you read through this and you try to do it. If you're completely lost, well, you just go to show me. There's audio, video, it shows you everything to do. That's why this is important to come back to from the project when you get stuck, okay? Just come back to the sim book, find the section that's relevant, come down here and find the show me, and it will show you how to do it. It also shows you, notice here, another way to do it. And then after you do the show me, you can do guide me if you want. Typically people go from show me to let me try. You don't get any points for these two, but you get points for this one. So when you finish, it'll have a green check mark over here. And when you finish this whole section, you go back to the beginning of the sim book before you opened it, you'll have your points, your checks for everything that you need to do. So you go to the next one and so forth. And there's a let me try and a show me right there. So this, you're creating a new file here, right? All right, so you've probably already seen this. Maybe you already have. And here's some other things they talk about differences in versions and so forth. You should be using 2013 or higher. And that's basically it. So when you get finished with it, you'll see, do you want to exit? Yeah, I do. You don't have to do it all at once. But when you finish it, you'll have your points. All these will be checked. See, I've got this, 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 so forth. And you'll have your points for each one of those. Okay? Pretty easy. Just remember to go back and forth between the sim book and the project. And then watch the video on the projects before you begin. All right.